heading into the meat bird barn. Should have already had that on that, but they're doing great, doing great. We've been in here already to do our chores and check on them, and let's go take a look. So we did start with 126. There's now 124. We're trying to keep this under 10 minutes. So we'll probably talk a little bit about feed consumption with this flock in this video, and then we'll run up to just right at 10 minutes. They're doing good. So they would have been up exercising and eating about an hour ago. So this is very typical that a majority of the flock is now resting, because kind of all chickens, but basically that's kind of what meat chickens do. They eat, drink, manure, rest, repeat. That's it. So I probably will step over the short wall and walk around among them, and that will probably create some activity. But overall, this flock is doing so good. See, and now when they get stirred up, you see a lot of wing flapping. You see that little charge, and they only go so many steps, and then they stop, and they might hop and jump, and they might even chicken fight at each other. So like that. Woo! Boys and girls feeling just a little bit feisty. So that's actually 2 males right there that just did that. This is a neat visual of this one. It's reaching up for a chain that's hanging down. I'll probably go ahead and put the tail of that chain up, but you can see how they basically don't feather in much on the underbelly. They will feather in a little more than that as they get close to finish and complete maturing, but it's kind of interesting. You know, they look like they don't feather in fast, but I want to caveat that. It's not that they don't feather in fast. In fact, it's that they grow so incredibly quickly. The body basically outgrows the pace that it feathers at. So they actually feather at a really normal rate, but they're growing. Admittedly, they are growing at an abnormal rate that is very quick, but that's why they're meat birds. That's the specialty. That's the specialization in these birds. They are the result of selective breeding, of pairing up birds that will pass on the specific traits of excellent and efficient feed to meat conversion, rapid growth, and distribution of the meat that they convert from the feed into the chicken breast, the chicken thighs, and the drumsticks. Okay, so that's what Cornish Rock Cross meat chickens do exceedingly well. And they grow quickly because those traits have been passed along to them in the genetic package from the selective breeding, from the pairs of parents over multiple generations of breeding programs. Okay, so that's what's up with that. But these birds, so we started with 126. In general, we would expect 100 Cornish Rock Cross meat chickens in our system to consume 1,000 pounds of feed from start to finish. So let me give you some specifics on that, though. Our system this year is about 37 days. Last year we were running about 42 days. And I would have said definitely 100 birds will top out 1,000 pounds of feed over 42 days. Now, we did a couple things this year. Hello. We did a couple things this year. We decided to shorten up our production system from start to finish so that we are going like for 35 days. So some of the flocks are ending up right around 35 days. This one's ending up at 37, okay? So we did shorten the production schedule. But we also decided every time we order chickens for meat production, we're going to order about 25 extra, okay? So this time, instead of feeding 100 birds for 42 days, they're not going to hurt each other. That's just a behavior that they do. And then it literally lasts like what you saw, like 1 1/4 second, and then they're moving on. So we are now planning on 37 days. And I was just telling you, we decided every time we order chickens for meat production, we're going to order about 25 extra, okay? So we had 125 birds, 37 days. We still went with 1,000 pounds of feed, and it's working out right. So this group so far, want to get the, so I'm going to go up to about 12 minutes. Sorry about that. But thanks for sticking with me. Thanks for joining us on 20X Home Poultry. So this group has been 24 days. They're 24 days old. We're just letting some feed drop down the reservoir there into the tray. So this group is 24 days old, over halfway through production. Only 13 more days of production. They're going to be finished. They're going to be bigger, a lot bigger, and they're going to be ready to go to the processor. But in 24 days, then, we have put out 500 pounds of feed. So it's interesting that while we are well over halfway through production, we are just now at halfway through target feed consumption. But that's because meat birds grow fast from the beginning, but then they grow faster at the end, okay? So when we see like this group of birds begin production, when they're hatchlings and they move in, it takes them about 6 days to go through 50 pounds of feed. They have a really natural curiosity. So it took them about 6 days to go through the first 50 pounds. And then it takes them shorter and shorter amount of time to go through 50 pounds. So like the first 50 pounds took 6 days. I think the next 50 pounds took 4 days. So what I'm trying to do right now is we'll put 50 pounds in on day 25 and then put 50 pounds in on day 27. And then we'll be able to put 50 pounds in a day until day 37. And on, day 36. And on day 36, we'll have them, we'd probably put the last 50 pounds in on day 35. They'll clean that up over day 35 and into day 36. And on day 36, we would be pulling feed for total feed withdrawal, because then they go to processing on day 37. So that's how we're going to handle the feed, the target feed consumption and the target feed range. We are kind of going to pace the birds, kind of pace the flock with the feed consumption. We do leave feeders in all of the time. We will not take the feeders out. We will let them eat them down empty if that's going to work for the amount of food we're trying to see them eat in a specific amount of time. But we'll leave the feeders in. We might let them empty them, and then when it's time to put more feed in, we'll just bring more feed in. But these feeders have enough feed that they can eat this up the rest of day 24 and overnight into day 25. Then we can put 50 pounds in, and they can consume that. We'll add more feed in day 27, and then they'll be eating about 50 pounds a day. So thanks for joining us. Join us again. God bless y'all, and may all your chicken dinners be winners.